It's crazy how some people think bizarre things about transgender individuals. They're like, you told me you originally you were born in Poland and you
Hmm.
lived there until you were 4.
Yeah, I lived there till I was 4 years old, and then I came to the United States. But I used to go back a lot, especially during the summertime. My parents would send me for like 3 or 4 months back to Poland to spend the summer. So I kind of feel like I grew up in both cultures. That I grew up in the Polish culture, and then I grew up in the American culture, just because, yeah, I was exposed to both from such a young age.
Yeah, yeah. And actually, I probably have some. Not probably. I do have actually have some Polish ancestry myself. When I actually forgotten about that until I
Hmm.
thought about it. And yeah, on my mom's side of the family, they originated from Poland and whatnot. Her maiden last name was Morawski, so I'm probably butchering it a little bit, but
I mean, that doesn't sound like, yeah, that sounds not that bad. Muravsky?
yeah, yeah,
Okay. Yeah, that wasn't that butcher. Yeah, Muravsky. Muravsky.
yeah,
Mura.
and
You're like, yeah. Nodding your head. Yeah. You're like, yeah, something like that. Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
a little bit of a redneck twang. Yeah, it's like Morawski or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, all right. So you're originally from Poland. You only so when you, I mean, I'm sure you probably don't remember much when you lived there consistently up until you were 4. You probably don't really remember much of what that was like.
But I do remember, I mean, yeah, I guess that's the assumption that most people make, but I still remember a lot when I used to go back and spend whole entire summers. Because my parents, as a kid, they would send me for like a few weeks before school ended and send me back a few weeks after school ended. So I'd be there for like 3 months or so during the whole entire summer, which I feel like is a lot of time to like immerse yourself in a society and a culture. Yeah, like I was going to school in the United States, but I was still spending so much time there. And we did go back to Poland, I think, for a year or so after my sister was born. So I think I was there from like the age of 5 to 6 or something like that, somewhere around there. But yeah, but I did spend a lot of time there. It's like a second home to me. I don't know. Whenever I come back, I don't know. It feels like home, even though it's changed a lot economically. It's not as poor as I remember from my childhood. But like I don't know, you can still, and it's improved and it's a lot different than it was during my childhood. But like they build highways and malls and, and all that like fancy stuff, but it still feels like home whenever I don't know, whenever I go back.
Yeah. So obviously, based on what you said, which is it seems like the gap is closing in, but there's a little bit of an what's the word, an economical difference
Yeah.
between both the United States. What about culture wise? I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of culture you probably can't explain in a 20-minute interview,
Mm.
but like on a couple of key points, is there a couple of key differences between Polish culture and American culture?
God, I'm trying to think. That really puts me on the
That's too much to cram in this interview. I understand.
yeah. I'm like, what should I talk about? I don't know. Yeah, it's definitely it's interesting. Yeah.
Well, let me ask this then. Maybe it'll make it a little bit simpler. Okay, so as far as like friendships wise, whatnot, like American friendships versus friendships formed in Poland and whatnot. Is there like a lot of differences there, or because here we're all about the social medias and whatnot, where the social media is practically taking over
Yeah.
everybody's lives. I mean, here
I
we
mean,
all think.
I'm pretty sure that's the case all over the world. That's not just an American thing. You probably go to like any country with decent like internet and yeah, and access to computers. It's probably taking over people's lives.
I wasn't for sure because I thought, well, maybe because there is a little bit of an economical difference. Maybe it was a little bit different, in Poland versus here. Maybe
No.
they weren't as involved in social media, which that would be kind of an awesome thing because I feel like we're too involved with social media. But yeah,
I don't know if it's a difference. I don't know. It's probably similar. I'm not sure. That's something I can't really comment that much about. No, but I feel like it's fairly. I don't. Yeah, for that's one thing that's a little bit harder to comment, but I would say it's probably similar. I mean, I know they have like social medias and stuff. I don't know too much about it, but I do. Yeah, I mean, I've definitely seen a lot of Polish people on social media. Um, yeah.
What about homophobia, in Poland versus the U.S.? Is it about the same, or is it a little
It's
bit less? Or
I mean, it is Eastern Europe, but it's been getting better. But yeah, it is Eastern Europe. It's it's been getting better. It also depends on where you are in Poland, but I mean, there are some parts that are extremely homophobic, transphobic. Um, yeah, definitely. That's definitely the case. And I would say it's more homophobic than the United States, for sure. But it is getting better, and there's been progress. I mean, the city that I'm from is one of the more tolerant cities in Poland. They had before the pandemic. I mean, they were having pride events every single year. It's a city of like a little bit less than half a million, or I think it's like 400,000 people, and I think they had like 5,000 people that came to a pride event in that city. So it was a decent turnout considering the population. It's like a small size city, probably like the size of, I don't know, Minneapolis or something like that. And they had a decent sized pride event. But yeah, they did have also other parts in Poland where they tried to implement um, LGBT free zones. So yeah, so there's that.
no LGBT people were allowed in these zones? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I think they got like a lot of they got a lot of yeah, they got a lot of heat from the European Union about that because the European Union wasn't too thrilled about cities trying to have LGBT free zones in the EU. Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, and I feel like it's probably like everywhere in the world it's gotten better. It definitely was probably a lot worse like 20 years ago. So I mean, there has been massive progress there, but it's still not like the United States or Western Europe. It's still behind in that aspect. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty close to Russia, and I know Russia, based off documentaries I've seen and whatnot. I actually knew somebody who was from Russia. They're extremely homophobic, anti-LGBT and
Yeah.
whatnot. So, but I think even they've gotten better too.
I mean, it's not I think their biggest problem is like Putin is like he's trying to push like an anti-LGBT rhetoric so he can justify being like a dictator and stuff. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you're a dictator, you always try to find somebody to like yeah. I mean,
Bully the little guy.
gay people are the easiest people to yeah, they're the easiest yeah, they're an easy target. So yeah. Yeah, I mean that Putin probably plays the biggest part about them homophobia in Russia and stuff like that. But yeah, it's Russia's definitely not that LGBT friendly. Mostly probably because of Putin.
Tell me a little bit more about you and whatnot. Like if you don't mind me asking, like what do you do for a living and whatnot?
I sell solar panels. I mean before the pandemic I was doing that door to door and now I've been doing that like through telemarketing or doing virtual sales. Even though I've kind of been using the one good thing about all this coronavirus thing is I don't know, I feel like that wasn't really I really enjoy doing that, but that wasn't my passion or whatever, so I'm trying to like more move to stuff that I have more of a passion. And my YouTube channel is one of those things, and I do feel like I see a lot of potential in it. Also, I mean, I've worked on startups for a bit. I do have a startup right now, but I don't know. I feel like I want to maybe do something different, something I have more of a passion. I've been trying to like take advantage of everything that's going on in the world to try to redirect my energy into more stuff that I have a passion for instead of just stuff that
Say startups, like what, like a little side business or something you're trying to start up.
yeah, maybe try to make it big and stuff. But yeah, yeah, yeah. And I feel like I don't know, and then I feel like I've been really enjoying doing this YouTube thing right now, especially, I don't know, probably because it was a good creative outlet and stuff. Yeah, and yeah, like so yeah, that's been really fun and stuff like that. But yeah, I feel like I don't know. But yeah, so what I do is I sell solar panels, but yeah, I'm trying to I guess venture off into more like entrepreneurial or stuff like that. if that makes sense.
Yeah, I find myself kind of being drawn into YouTube a little bit or whatnot. Yeah, I mean, it took me a minute to really get started. That first video, there's probably about a good 2.5 month gap between that video.
I kind of had some I kind of had something similar like that, and also it took me I think like a year for the first video to make it. Maybe because I was too much of a perfectionist. But then yeah, I did have some gap last summer because I made like one or two videos, and then there was like a gap, and then I really started getting into it consistently, and I'm trying to do it more and more consistently. I would say I think it was like October or November. That's when, yeah, I tried to do stuff more consistently.
So, like, besides work or whatnot, like, and YouTube, like, do you have any other passions? Like, do you enjoy like any sort of fitness type of outlets or video games or like what are you what's
I definitely don't video games isn't my thing, but I'm big into soccer. I like playing soccer. I don't, and then other things, I don't know. I enjoy music, art. I enjoy traveling. I definitely enjoy traveling a lot. Or exploring cities. Yeah. Cities in particular. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm definitely a city person, and I do like exploring cities. That's why I like where I live right now, Chicago. And I don't know. I feel like I can only see myself living in like cities from now on. Yeah, pretty big cities. Yeah, I don't know. Because then it's like you can explore the city and check it out and stuff like that. Yeah.
so you have a job where you're selling solar panels whatnot trying to make the world a little bit greener of a place. You enjoy art and what's it like art
Soccer, soccer, travel. Soccer. Yeah, soccer, traveling. Yeah.
soccer traveling so um so you're not one of these like you know, because you're trans and whatnot, you're not one of these weirdos that do like weird sacrificial things out in the woods somewhere.
Oh no, I
You're
do that
you're a
too.
normal person. You're a normal person. Like you have normal thoughts. What?
No, no, I do that too.
I'm just being sarcastic. That's what a lot of people. It's crazy how some people think bizarre things about transgender individuals. They're like
Yeah, I do pagan voodoo rituals in the woods, or whatever you want to call it.
are you joking?
I'm joking. I feel like you got scared for a second. You're like, you're like, damn, there's probably a voodoo doll of me. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm also into stuff like I'm definitely into fashion and stuff like that, and I'm trying to get more into makeup. But I feel like makeup is also. Are you having a little bit of trouble hearing me? Makeup, I feel like, is almost like it's also like an artistic, almost form of art. I don't know. Yeah.
And it's not your volume, it's my phone. My phone's really getting worn out. Like, I'm one of those type I use it until it completely snaps. Like, yeah, I've had belts that I used for
Mm,
years when they were all so worn and it finally just snapped on me. So that's how I use all my stuff. I use it until it completely breaks on me. And this
yeah.
phone's getting pretty close, but I've had it for like 3 years in and out of geothermal power plants, pipelines. It's falling off to the dirt and the mud. So this phone's kind of been through it. So
I mean, my phone's
that's
kind
what
of
I
this.
definitely for. It's my phone, not you.
My phone is kind of the same. The camera from one side sometimes is pretty bad, and yeah, I think mine is like 3 or 4 years old. It's an iPhone, so it's all good. Yeah, so I have a normal job. I'm a normal person, even though I'm trans. I have a normal. Yeah, it's not like some stereotypical. I don't know, negative stereotype of a trans person. I don't fit under that box. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and like Hollywood, they like to paint, sometimes they mean well, and sometimes it's kind of like that's a little screwed up. But like Hollywood, if people only know about the trans community through Hollywood or through negative lies, pretty much blatant lies, about the community. Like this is one movie, which it's a good movie, but it's like only the few movies that at least from what I've seen that I know about that feature somebody who's trans and in actuality the person who actually played the part of the trans person wasn't actually trans in real life. They just were very, very feminine looking. But you ever seen that movie, the Crying Game?
I feel like I've heard of it. I think. Yeah, I've heard of it.
Oh yeah, I mean, I won't spoil the movie for you. When it's a pretty good movie, um, but it's like it has somebody in it who is trans and whatnot. But they kind of depicted this person as a very she's sad and has a low sense of self esteem, and basically this in a much better, more polite lighting than a lot of other movies depict trans people. But she was very, very beautiful in the movie, but she depicted her as having self esteem issues and sad and kind of lonely, and he just had that sort of energy about her and whatnot, which that's true for some individuals, but it seems like every time you see a Hollywood movie and it has somebody who's trans, they're depicted in this sad sort of light, or they're depicted as perverse. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
There's no like lighting where it depicts them as normal. Like I don't know, a movie. I mean, it might be boring, but it'd be accurate. Somebody who happens to be trans, and they went to the grocery store, and they had a normal life, and they had a job, 9 to 5, and had a husband or wife or whatever their situation was. You know what I mean? You don't really see that really depicted.
But I feel like it's
You're
got.
starting to see that come up.
I feel like I feel like it's gotten better. And I've seen there was one movie I can't think of it off the top of my head. It was on Netflix. It was a really cute like romantic movie about a trans
Boy
woman.
Meets Girl. Is
What?
that what you're thinking of?
What was it?
Boy Meets Girl.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's that one. Yeah, have you seen that one?
Was it based out of Kentucky or supposedly?
I don't remember. Was it? I think so. Yeah. Did you see the movie or no?
Yeah, yeah. I seen it. It had Ricky in it and Bobby. That's in the character names in it.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. Yeah, I seen that movie. Yeah.
Yeah, where she was like, yeah, where it was her best friend, but she was like flirting with yeah, with that like straight couple, both of the people in the straight couple. Talk about messy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Homegirl kind of got down a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that was
So yeah, I'd almost forgotten about that movie. Yeah,
that was a good
but
movie. Also,
yeah, but in recent years they've started changing it up a bit.
Euphoria. I don't know if you heard of the TV show Euphoria. That's I feel like that paints it in a very positive way. Euphoria. Have you heard of that TV show?
Oh no, I haven't. Is it just Euphoria? The
It's
word?
just Euphoria. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Haven't heard of that show. I've heard
Yeah.
of Pose. I haven't heard of Euphoria.
Well, I mean, it's not a show in particular about trans stuff, but one of the main characters, or probably the main character, she's trans. But they painted it in a really good way, and it was also really cool because I feel like in a really positive way because they didn't even mention she was trans until like the fifth or sixth episode. So they like painted her first as like the individual she was, and then later like, oh yeah, she's trans, and they did. I think they had a new episode where they did go into more into like her being trans and stuff like that. But yeah, it did paint her. It painted her more of like as a unique character versus somebody who's like trans in particular. So yeah, yeah, and then yeah, it's played by like some trans women, which I think she also played a huge part in like developing that character for that TV show. So yeah.
That reminds me of a more recent movie too. The new what was it called? It was a remake of a movie that came out in the '90s, I think. Had
Hmm.
like four witches. Tip of my tongue. Uh, but anyway, there's this movie that came out recently. I think in like 2019. I think is when it came out,
Hmm.
maybe 18. But basically, they made a remake, and one of the girls in it, she was. I'm pretty certain she was legitly like trans and whatnot. And in the movie, they made just a brief mention of basically it was like in passing, like, so yeah, this and that, and I'm trans, and I do this, and that was the end of it. Just one brief little, maybe one or two sentences about her being trans. And that was the end of it, and it's not like it became a center point on that one, person for 15, 20 minutes and make it about her fight through life or this. No, it's just a brief little 2 sentence little thing, and that was the end of it. And it's like they moved on with the story of the movie. You know what I mean? So normalization of people who are already normal. They just have to do a certain change or whatever, So, yeah, so I get your point. It is getting better and whatnot, but for the longest time, you just seen it depicted usually like one of two ways. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, I lose you.
Oh, what was that?
Oh, I'll just make sure I didn't lose you. You got
Oh
me
no, no,
quiet.
I'm a lesbian. Do you find that shocking considering that I'm trans and I identify as a lesbian? Or
Do
is
I?
that surprising?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, no. I mean, you like what you like. It is what it is. Like, that's the one thing that is interesting about the community. The LGBT community is, you can never assume. And to be honest, if I was like, because I first really was getting on the scene when I was like 21. Because I grew up in Alabama and was kind of repressed or whatever, and I didn't really break out until I was 21, and alcohol was introduced or whatever. So, but yeah, like when I was first on the scene, I'd be just so. As they say, the pitcher and the catcher between two guys or two women or whatever. Oh, that one's the pitcher, that one's the catcher, and then you go up and you talk to them, and it's like complete opposites. Like what? So I mean, I quickly got broken of the assuming who somebody is, you know, just based on their looks and whatnot. And it's kind of dumb anyway, just to assume somebody's a certain way just based on their looks. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? I've seen the most masculine, manly men and whatnot, walking into a bar or whatnot, and then their boyfriend comes in. He's super, super flamboyant or whatever, and then you find out, it's complete opposite in the bedroom and whatnot. So, but sorry, I got off on subject again, but yeah, no. I mean, I wasn't surprised at all. You know what I mean? Like I said, I don't. So you are who you are, and you like what you like. So, yeah.
Still there. Yeah, yeah, I'm still there. No, I was listening. I was listening to what you were saying.
How many minutes we got into this? We got a pretty good conversation going here.